Charmaine,
meeting.
I'm here.
Hello, okay, perfect. Laura, just wanted to start the meeting on time and recess until
Great.
either you were here
Yeah,
or
I'm
we
here.
received quorum.
It's
Thank you.
5:45. So,
At this time, we can call for a roll and then the chair can take over the meeting.
Charmaine, I've got this. Thank you so much. So if we could go ahead with there is a buzzing in the background. I'm not sure what's causing that. But
I
if we
think
could,
it's that microphone.
okay. Which microphone do you know?
I think they turned it off, the one sitting
Wonderful.
next to, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So if we could go ahead with the taking attendance, that would be great.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Barbara McQueen, representing School Board District 1.
Here.
Christine Tibbs, representing School Board District 2. Charmaine Postel, representing County Council, PTA, PTSA.
Present.
Rachel Frischberg, representing School Board District 3. Nate Collins, representing School Board District 4. Present. He's present. 1 second. Thank you. Dr. Holly Seidenfeld, representing School Board District 5. Laura Feldman, representing School Board District 6.
Present.
Charmaine Postel, representing County Council of, oh, well, I'm sorry, she's already here.
Correct.
Latoria Hillard, Coalition for Black Student Achievement.
Someone new has joined. I don't know if it's one of the people who have already been marked as absent.
That was Charmaine. Reginald Durandis, Ayiti and Action, Inc. Randy Gabriel, representing District ESC Advisory Committee. Let's see who just, Ms. Bishop. Sheila Scott Lubin, representing Palm Beach State College.
Is that it for the
Margarita
attendance?
Pincos,
I see.
representing Hispanic Education Coalition. No. So right now, we have 5 members.
Okay, of the people who are absent, have any of them been in contact with you to let you know that they will not be able to make it,
No.
either by phone or by email? Okay, so
I
let's
see
go ahead.
Reginald Durandis joining us just now.
Okay, so we now have 6 people and we need 7 for a quorum.
7.
Is that
I
correct?
just texted Dr. Seidenfeld to see if she was getting on, Holly.
I see Dr. Seinfeld joining
She is?
us.
Okay.
So do we have a total of 6 people?
We have a total of 7.
We have a total of 7 people present.
That is correct.
Okay, and our quorum is now 7 people, or is it more than that?
It's 7.
Okay, so terrific. So we have a quorum. The next question I have, so Reginald is here, and is it Holly who's also joined?
Yes, I can
Okay.
see if she joined us.
So of the other people who are absent, since none of them had contacted you prior to the meeting to let you know that they would be absent, would you please mark these as unexcused absences? And do any of these people is this the third consecutive unexcused absence for any of these people?
None of them, no.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So at 5:53, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. And let's move forward with an approval of the minutes. Does anyone have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
McQuinn approved. Excuse me, a motion to approve.
Motion. Thank you. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second. Nate
Thank you very
Collins.
much. All in favor? Or any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? I saw, can people either raise their hands or somehow by voice indicate that they approve?
Approve.
I saw one person, maybe two people vote. Okay, is there something about the minutes that you all would like to discuss?
This is Barbara McQuinn. In one other committee that I'm on, we just asked if there is anyone who is opposed, and therefore it is assumed for the minutes that no one opposes. So it's unanimously approved. Just
Okay, I hear you. Usually this is not a difficult thing, and I usually hear lots of A's, but I'm not hearing anything or seeing any hands raised. So I was quite puzzled by this. So I'll ask again. If you approve the minutes, please say A or raise your hand to indicate that you are in favor of approving the minutes. Okay, so the minutes have not been approved. And
is there anyone who disapproves of the minutes? They have to do one or the other.
right, I hear you.
So maybe ask if
Perhaps people are speaking and not realizing that they're on mute, but could you please let us, do we hear? Okay. Please write in the comments if you approve the minutes. All in favor, say write A, or I approve, or yes.
I approve.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Christine. I'm sorry, I couldn't sign in through the Google Meet. I've been trying to wait to get let in since like 5:45. I'm on the phone right now because I couldn't get in through the Google Meet link.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're here by phone, and
I approve of the minutes.
thank you. Greatly appreciated. Okay, so we have 3 votes in favor of approving the minutes. Do we have any opposed? If you do not agree with approving the minutes, please write either no in the chat or say no, or I think those are really the only 2 options. Okay, so we have 3 yeses and 0 nos, and I'm going to assume that everybody else has abstained. Thus, the motion. Ms. McQuinn, do you have a different answer?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forget that I talk with my face. No, I'm just going to suggest that there were no opposing, so it unanimously passes unless someone says otherwise.
I'm going to say that the people who did not vote abstained, and thus it will pass.
Okay, but they shouldn't abstain unless they have a specific reason for doing so. Just call me Miss Roberts Rules of Order.
That's fine. I appreciate the guidance. Okay. Motion carries and minutes are approved. Do we have any public comment at this time? Is there anybody in the room or on a call? Is there anyone in the room for public comment?
No, no one's here.
Okay. And is anyone on the call that you can see that is part of the public for public comment?
Let's look, because we have had several other people join us now. We can see by the Google Meet, we must have been having a little technical issue earlier.
Okay. So let's go through, and if you've joined since, I think it was 5:53 p.m., would you please write your name in the chat?
This is School Board Member Gloria Branch. People their microphones need to mute it. Randy, can you mute yourself unless you're talking?
You can mute them all too.
Except for mine, please. Okay, so people are not putting their names in the chat. So can you call out the phone numbers that you're seeing so that we can find out who is on this call? Thank you, Rachel. I see that you're here. If we could please mark Rachel as being present and take her off of the absentee list, as well as Sheila Scott Lubin and Christine Tibbs.
Okay, we got them.
Okay, are there other phone numbers that you are not recognizing where you don't know who they are?
There's a phone number ending in 56. Who is that person ending in 56?
I thought someone had said that that was Charmaine's phone number. Is that incorrect?
Someone just said. Who is it? IT. Oh, it's IT. Okay. Can you scroll down a little bit, Alma, and see who else we have? Scroll down. Who was name not available? Did we get that one? Miss McQuinn. Okay. All right. Scroll down. Okay. And we have Mr.
Being technologically challenged, I have no idea how to get my name in there. I was happy to get my face in.
No problem. We have Mr. Nolan Rowell. Who else? I think we're good then, right?
Okay.
Okay.
This is Randy. I joined late. I couldn't get connected. I want to make sure you have my name.
Yes, we have your name.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we have no public comment. Thank you. And let me pull up. I'm not able to open up the agenda on my screen. If you would please scroll down.
It's scroll down. You see it?
Thank you.
Okay.
Great. So, Ms. Bishop, if you would please go forward with the update from yourself. Thank you.
Great. Well, good evening again, everyone. Happy Monday. Glad that you're here with us. I'm so glad we have so many members joining us this evening. I'm going to go through a few updates. First of all, this is the testing season, and we've entered the testing season. Our students are busy taking all types of testing right now. We have our Florida Alternative Assessment that started February 25th. Our Best Writing was started back in April 2nd. Our FAST ELA Reading, our third grade students will take their ELA test on May 1st, and that's when the window opens for ELA, math, science, and of course, for students in grade 3 through 10, all these assessments, as well as we have our ACE, AP, IB exams starting April, carries through May. AP is in May. Industry certification exams are ongoing. So lots of testing happening right now. We are getting ready to celebrate Take Your Child to Work Day, April 24th. And then we're really excited about our graduation. We're getting ready for our students to walk across our stage beginning May 6th through May 22nd. And then we're going to go to a less popular subject, which is the budget. I just wanted to share a couple of things that we are increasingly concerned about with this proposed 25-26 state budget. As you know, our school districts in Florida are primarily funded through the state budget, which is determined every year by the governor and the legislature, right? So we're going to start out with the proposed changes to the funding of accelerated and college career coursework. That could result, or cutting up to 50% of that could result up to $32 million from our school district budget. Of course, this would impact programs such as our advanced placement, our ACE, our IB programs, our dual enrollment, and industry certification. As you know, we're going to be addressing some of those programs a little bit later on the agenda. And as you know, too, Palm Beach County, we have been a leader when it comes to creating these opportunities for advanced coursework for our students. We've been growing our student participation in these accelerated courses. And as we're going to learn about a little bit more, I'm going to emphasize it again here because it's a very great accomplishment. 85% of our current seniors in the class of 2025 have taken at least one college-level course while in high school. I do want to just say that we continue focused on making sure that we are preserving as many of these advanced courses for our students as possible. In addition, we expect a $14 million reduction due to the routine annual adjustments built into the Florida Education Finance Program, or the FEFP, funding formula. Although this happens every year, this year with what's going on, it is especially impactful to our school district. We're also impacted by the rapid expansion of the Family Empowerment Scholarship Program, or the Universal Vouchers, that now has surpassed charter school enrollment in Palm Beach County. Statewide, this program is projected to consume nearly 14% of the education budget, totaling $4 billion. Even with the projected 5% increase in the local tax base, the school district does not automatically receive more funding per student. So consequently, the proposed per student funding increase for Palm Beach County ranges from 0 to 1%. I do want to ensure you that our leadership team will explore many ways to minimize any direct impact to our students, staff, and family. At this point, all of this is still in draft, and we do not have the final outcome but we will continue to monitor what's going on in Tallahassee. And finally, we do continue to monitor the developments at the federal level, where we could be considering additional cuts that could further reduce education funding in the future school years. This may impact staffing, professional development, English language learner support, universal free meals, and other student services. Again, we remain committed to supporting our schools and working with partners at every level to minimize disruptions to students and staff. Okay.
There's a question in the chat of what percentage of our funding is federal.
I don't know. Anybody? I don't have the exact figure in front of me, but I can get that answer for you. but I do know that those federal, we are talking our Title I, Title II, or Title II, Title IV grants, in which that does fund a lot of our support staff here at the district offices, as well as some of our regional offices and other programs. But I can get back with you with the exact percent. And let me see what else I have here. That is all I have for the updates. Just wanted to give you some exciting things that are happening and then just share the reality of our budget. And we will wait, we're awaiting to see what the final outcome is at Tallahassee level as well as the federal level. But I know that I'm confident that we have an exceptional leadership here in Palm Beach County. Our CFO, Heather Fredrickson, is extremely bright and very talented and creative with the budget, because our goal is to not impact the schools, our employees as much as possible with all of this.
So what information has, I have multiple questions regarding the cuts to the advanced coursework programs. Has one article I read had commented that, so I don't know any more detail than what I read, but that there was legislators had expressed that they felt there was a lack of clarity as to what these funds were being used for, which I thought was a bizarre statement. But I didn't know if that's something that you all have heard or addressed. So that's one question that I have.
Well, those funds go back directly, about 80% of the funds go directly to the schools. And so the schools utilize the funds, but typically they utilize it to purchase like testing materials, training for teachers, and so forth. So those funds, 80% goes directly to the school level. But each school utilizes them to support the accelerated coursework, their advanced programming at their schools.
Which makes a lot of sense. But is that something that has been shared with legislators, certainly our local legislators?
Yes, I know that, and Ms. Gloria Branch, one of our board members, is on this call too, but I know that our lobbyists and we have groups that have gone to Tallahassee, including our school board members, to advocate for the work that we do here.
Great. I'm not surprised by that fact. I'm very happy with it, but I'm not surprised. And I just was trying to understand why that was being reported that way when it would seem that the money is being used to further the programs. And the other question I have is, have the families of students been informed about this in any way?
Well, these are, just keep in mind, this is still proposed. So we need to really wait until everything is finalized. This is proposed at this time. And Mr. Burke has sent out emails to all of our families. The community as well has received this information.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Next, we do have, I think as part of the updates too, we have instructional materials ordering process. Mr. Nolan Rowell, can you see that on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Mr. Rowell, thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to hearing your presentation.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. I wanted to just share a couple of quick updates and then also just kind of go over the process because we haven't really talked about the process that involves you guys. So I wanted to walk you through it and just so you know what's going on behind the scenes. Give me just a second. I'll share my screen and kind of walk everyone. Well, that's even better. So basically, whenever a school is going to go through and order instructional materials or books, the teachers or principal, whoever is going to select the materials and get a quote. It's kind of the easiest way. And then they provide that quote to a certified library media specialist, who then is responsible for reviewing the materials, just to vet them and make sure that they're grade level appropriate, age appropriate, and that they're in line with all of the statutes that have come out in the last few years. Once they've done that, then they're going to sign off on a ordering procedure checklist. They also upload that order to the Active Orders website. You guys have probably seen those in emails that come out from time to time. The school, once it's uploaded there, the school must wait either 2 weeks or 72 hours, depending on what kind of order it is, before they can move forward with their purchase. The difference between 2 weeks and 72 hours, the only thing that's a 72-hour purchase is if the school is trying to order something from a book fair. The book fairs are typically only on campus for a week, so we needed a process for them to be able to purchase those materials from there. Anytime there's an order, Library Media Services sends out an email to you guys and lets you know that there's been at least one order placed that day. We didn't want to send you guys an email for every single order that's placed, because then we're clogging up your inbox, and that's not fun for anybody. We depend on you guys to provide the stakeholder feedback that's required in statute for this. So other districts have used the SAC committees, but we wanted to do it this way because we felt like it was a little bit more efficient for the schools and allows them to do their business in a more timely manner. So after the appropriate wait time is allowed to allow for feedback, the school can move forward with their purchases. The process provides transparency to our parents and our community members, because we want them to know, like, hey, this is what we're ordering, this is what's being put in front of kids. You know, there's nothing wrong with any of it, but we want you to know what's going to be going in front of your students. All right. The materials that have to go through this process are basically anything that hasn't gone through the adoption process. For those of you that aren't familiar with the textbook adoption process, it's very public forward. And it's kind of a longer process where there's a lot of opportunities for the public to participate. So library books, whether it be for the media center or classrooms, also non-adopted textbooks. So for the AP, IB, ACE courses, CTE courses, some too. Also plays, sheet music, things for fine arts. Supplemental materials, so like different workbooks are very popular that have to go through this. And it's basically anything that's going in front of a student that's being bought with school funds, or anything that's being donated to the school. So we just want to make sure that everything is posted for the correct amount of time. All right, so the checklist, you guys, there's a link there, and this has been shared in the agenda. If you want to open it up, it's just kind of, we put it together for the purchasing team, more or less. Oh, sorry about that. So give me just a second. If you refresh, it should open up. I'm sorry about that. All right, so basically what this does is it allows the media specialist to print this out, fill it out, and then send it to the principal. It keeps the principal updated on what's being ordered, because they're responsible for everything that's used on their campus, basically, with the statutes. So we want them to know this is what's going in front of the kids. And then it also allows purchasing whenever they get orders to come through. The bookkeepers attach this to their requisition request, or also their P card packets, so that purchasing knows that all of the steps were followed.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
There was just a couple more slides, but it's kind of basic. So the last thing is probably the most important part. So the academic advisory committee, your part of the process is basically to provide feedback to us we need to be able to show that we do have stakeholders that are participating with the process. So it could be anything from, hey, the orders today look great. I see no issues. It can be very short. Positive feedback is good feedback. And then also, like, if you see something that's a little concerning to you or you might have questions about, just shoot us an email, reply back to the email that comes into your inbox and let us know, hey, this looks a little bit weird. So my department will look into it and we'll find out some more information and share that with you. And then if there's something that you want to flag, you can flag it. And then what happens is that material is held up from ordering. And then it'll be on hold until we come back to the next academic advisory committee meeting so that we can discuss it in person. But do please keep in mind prior to flagging anything that they've been selected by a professional educator. They were reviewed by a certified media specialist that took their annual state training, and they were also signed off by a school principal. But that doesn't mean that there's not something that needs to be flagged, but just to keep that in mind. And then last but not least, does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
I can't see who raised their hand.
I had a question. So if someone wants to donate to the school libraries, a lot of the books that they'll donate are books that the librarian already has. Does that have to go through a review process? Or if it's a book that the library doesn't have, then it is reviewed? How does that work?
So that happens a lot. And so what happens is that it has to go through the wait period, but we're building a database. So every time someone does a review on the books, they basically submit it into the database saying that it's been a certified media specialist has reviewed this already to cut down on redundancy for everybody and make everybody's job a little bit easier with this. So it would have to wait, go through the proper wait time, but it wouldn't have to be reviewed again by a media specialist.
And how long is the proper wait time? I'm just curious because I know someone who wants to donate books, at least by the end of the school year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's 2 weeks.
Oh, it's 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. It's 10 business days.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yep.
This is Gloria Branch. I just had the Junior League of Boca Raton about a month or so ago. They wanted to donate books to underprivileged, kids and schools, and they just had the teachers fill out an application, and they books got approved, and they each got 100 books for their rooms, for their library. So it's very nice of the Junior League of Boca Raton.
Yeah, for sure. And usually what happens is when we have something that's a big donation like that, it comes to my department with Library Media Services, and we just did one for the Children's Services Council. So we go through and review it, and then we post it so that everybody doesn't have to do it at their school site. It makes it better for everybody.
Right.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Nolan.
Great, thank you. And if we can go forward with the next presentation about the State of Advanced coursework.
Yes. All right. As it was one of the topics that the committee wanted us to bring back, so we have it prepared for you today. I'm joined here by Dr. Paul Houchins and Dr. Eva Swinar, who are going to do most of the presentation. So they worked really hard to put this together. So without further ado, we're going to get started.
Good evening, everybody. As Ms. Bishop said, we were asked to kind of pull together some of the data on the current state of our advanced placement, our Cambridge, which is ACE, our International Baccalaureate, and our dual enrollment coursework. So basically any high school level coursework that results in college credit is what we were asked to take a look at. As Ms. Bishop said, currently our senior class currently, 85% of them have taken some college level coursework while they were in high school. Kind of the first question we were asked is, how is this historically? How have we increased interest? How have we been moving the needle on this? And for the past, call it 8 to 9 years, you're all aware and have been presented on the master board analysis process. That initially started out kind of focused at the high school level, primarily around access to college level coursework. A couple of years into the process, access to middle school level advanced coursework was added as kind of a lead-in to front load prepping students so that they're coming to high school instead of trying to get them ready for college level coursework exclusively while they're in high school, starting that meter earlier, getting them ready for that more rigorous content while they're in middle school so that there's a better step into that level of coursework when they're in high school. The data presented here is basically showing the last 5 years of enrollment in those courses. As you can see, it's double digit across subgroups and overall. So, in terms of spurring interest, this is our indication to ourselves that what's going on in our schools is moving the needle in terms of getting more interest, more students access and interested and access to these courses. In the bottom left, when you're reviewing this afterwards, if you'd like, there's a link directly to the Master Board Analysis tool, and you can go in and look at specific schools or subgroups and slice and dice in any way you'd like.
Can we go back to that first page?
Certainly.
So the graph is showing enrollment, or is it showing interest?
This is enrollment. This is enrollment.
Okay. Because I realize that there are times when the schools will send out a form so students indicate what they're interested in, but that is different than what they're enrolled in. So that's why the title of the page seemed to be different than what you were saying it was, so I was confused.
So the course request form is typically only the courses that students can take at the school. They're not typically putting out course request forms that are, a wide net. It's the courses that they're being offered. So when if you're referring to the course request forms, which I believe you are, and if you're not, please correct me. Those typically have the courses that the school is offering and not, would you like to take this other course that's not necessarily offered at the school.
Right. Okay. But this graph is specifically showing enrollment in dual enrollment ACE, AP, or IB courses, not just what students have expressed interest in taking. Is that correct?
Correct. The enrollment has increased from a little over 50% to 68% overall. We would look at that as an increased measure of interest in college level coursework over the past 5 years. That's the interpretation we're making.
Okay. And do we have a breakdown of how much of this is dual enrollment versus the other courses?
It's available on the Master Board Analysis tool. You can look overall across AP, ACE, IB, and dual enrollment combined. You can also look at AP by itself, ACE by itself, IB, and dual enrollment all individually as well.
Terrific. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Follow-up question was around participation by course. Obviously, there's a lot of courses over the past 5 years. There's been little less than 700, college level courses taken by our students, different, so that's not particularly conducive to a slide. So what we've done here is basically aggregate the data for the slide into the various content areas, language arts aligned courses, mathematics courses. Science here is both, your biology, your chemistry, but also computer science. Your social studies is your social sciences, particularly aligned to the types of social sciences students typically take in high school. So a social science course like AP Psych or something like that, we actually put into electives because it's not so much aligned to the, world history, European history, government type of things, but they're still accounted for. They're just accounted for under the elective section. And then world languages is, any, foreign language, Spanish, Haitian Creole, German, anything along those lines. So that first column after the year, that's the total number of students participating in these courses unduplicated. And then the percentages listed across. So just using the top row for language arts as the example, we've got a little less than 36,000 students currently enrolled in a college-level language arts course. A little less than 23% of those students are Black. About 35.5% of those students are Hispanic. About 33.5% of those students are white, so on and so forth. And again, there's 3 years of data presented on the slide. However, again, in the bottom left, this links to the full request of by course, district-wide, participation and enrollment. The counts by subgroup are also included on the spreadsheet that this links to. And we can pop it up and walk through it as well. Let's see here. No, I don't have shift.
So through those counts, we would be able to extrapolate the percentages of, for example, all Hispanic students that are taking math courses, math advanced level courses.
So again, what we're presenting here and what we're presenting in the spreadsheet is the percent of students in those courses who are of that subgroup.
Right.
We'd need so the denominator for this conversation is the students who are in the courses.
Courses that I picked up on this one, but when you had mentioned that you could look it up on, when going into more detail, it is still based on the number of students in these courses, not the number of Hispanic students we have in Palm Beach County.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Because that would be a different denominator than the enrollment numbers, which is where we were starting from.
Got it.
Can you pull up do you want to switch over to the actual presentation as opposed to the PDF? Bear with us 1 second and we'll actually pop over to the presentation so we can use the link. I'm sorry? Yes. It's a Google slide, so you should be able to.
Who is assigned in as you? Jonathan.
Here, I just shared it with you real fast. Can you open it while it's you?
You shared it with School District.
Oh, sure. It's actually.
SDPC meetings.
Apologize for the delay.
Do you want to talk about this while we wait?
If you pop back a couple, I don't know if it's moving. Okay, while we're waiting, switch over so we can look at the link. The next part of the question was around sections and students participating in those sections. Again, due to the amount of data, kind of aggregated it for the slide into those content areas mentioned, but the link in the bottom left-hand corner takes you to the data by school with counts. So again, just to kind of level set to the slide, and the data in the linked document has it in the same format. So currently there are 1,555 sections of language arts college level coursework going on in our high schools that have, 36,583 students enrolled. That's a pretty consistent upward trend from where we were in 2001, where it was a little over 1,000 sections and roughly 2,400 students, or 24,500 students. And again, you can see there's, language arts and the electives are our two biggest spots, followed by science and social studies. Mathematics is a little bit behind on that. There's fewer courses typically available for math, just across those types of courses. And then moving to the next one.
And so by sections, you mean the time the class is offered within, for example, one period, correct?
Across the day. So if you've got 5 sections of the course across the day, because you've only got one teacher, it would be 5. If you've got 2 teachers and they're all teaching it all day, it might be 10.
Okay.
But the sections are basically the unique period and teacher combinations of the courses.
Great.
And The follow-up question to that was for students who aren't taking the courses at their schools for whatever reason, what's the virtual participation? As one might expect, participation virtually in the college level courses is not huge. We used FLVS and the Palm Beach virtual options. We aggregated those together here because obviously both of those are, off-campus participation. But the students aren't necessarily participating in these courses virtually only because they can't take them at the school. There could be a scheduling conflict. Maybe it's only available period 5, but a student has another course they want to take period 5. There is the limited availability piece as we, was discussed. Flexibility, the student desiring some flexibility in terms of pacing the course. Some of the unique courses that aren't necessarily available in the regular curriculum might be available on virtual. Students who want to accelerate and do more content and get done earlier. And again, I'm not going to read the rest of them, but and then.
So have we looked at where the students are who are enrolling in these courses virtually? Meaning at which schools? Is there a pattern that you have students, more students from like 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it may be, schools who are enrolling in classes virtually versus at other schools?
We can certainly look at that. We have not, but we can. And just one other caveat on this particular slide. The reason 2025 is not included is because the virtual, because courses are taken virtually, they don't actually end up in the system until grades are awarded, so that we would have something comparable year over year. We just excluded 2025 for now, because that'll be more complete data after the end of the school year. Along those same lines around access, we get the AP potential from the PSAT that we give in 10th grade and 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. We have access to, from College Board, an AP potential indicator that can be used to identify students for college level coursework. I mean, it's targeted towards AP. We use it across the board in terms of school scheduling. As you can see from this, again, this is from the Master Board Analysis tool. 93% of our students with potential are currently sitting in an AP, IB, ACE, dual enrollment type of course. But even beyond that, over 50% of our students who aren't showing potential. So we, definitely are casting a wider net than the College Board flag. We actually have a report in EDW to help schools use that data to schedule students. This is a recommended placement piece. There's also dependencies on program offerings and interest, as well as teacher credentials at the school. I guess this isn't the one I added to. Okay. It's not on the slide, but we also have pretty substantial offerings to students who get a level 2. Over half of the students who are getting level 2s in our reading and math state test are still getting access to these college level coursework. So we definitely do, again, cast a wide net in terms of giving students access to these courses. Going into the course offerings kind of across the board, to your point of who might be doing virtual more often than not. This is basically just the regional offerings. The first row there is the number of high schools in the region, and then the subsequent rows are the number of high schools where students are participating in AP, ACE, IB dual enrollment. So using Central as an example, they have 7 comprehensive high schools, and 7 schools are offering some combination of AP or ACE courses. 2 are offering IB courses, but the caveat for IB is that it's program specific. There's actually a magnet program of study that goes along with that. So IB is not available at all our schools. And then dual enrollment is, it's a combination of school availability and the student's availability to get to the school if they're doing it at Palm Beach State or off campus. So as you can see, pretty much across the board, most of our high schools are offering both AP and ACE. There's one school in the South that's focusing primarily on ACE, exclusively on ACE this year in terms of between the two, but they still have, an IB school and students in dual enrollment. And then again, down here in the link in the bottom, it links to the courses, the number of courses offered by school in each of these categories. So for example, district-wide, we're currently offering 36 AP courses out of the, I think, 40 to 42 that exist. ACE, I can pull it up later and we can look at the actual numbers.
That would be great. Is there a way to look at that by general topic of math, science, like you had on the other one, so we could see what the distribution is? For example, taking a look at science, AP and ACE courses across the district.
You can look at that either on the sections tab of the spreadsheet, or we can aggregate and give you something like that because we kind of went to just the programs across the board or the sections. We can also re-aggregate it to show you in between, where you're basically looking by kind of the content area within AP, content area within ACE. We could do that, yes.
Okay, that would be great to be able to look at. I'd be very curious specifically about AP Computer Science A.
So you can see that. If you want to get to the specific courses, you can see that on the sections tab of the sheet. But
will that show it by region like you have it here?
Well, it shows it by high school. It shows it school by school.
Because seeing it by region, I think, will be very helpful.
Okay, we can do that.
Cool.
And then again,
before I go on, but it's also the science classes. Here we want to help grow STEM majors, right, and STEM careers, and having the math, the science, computer science all helps to give our students that background to be able to do that.
Yes, ma'am. So, as we've gone through the master board process over the years and kind of tried to cast the wider net to get more students into college level coursework while they're in high school, we've transitioned from, for lack of a better word, an access model, and we're shifting towards a completion model. This is the accelerated diplomas data. These are the students who are getting the collegiate equivalent high school diploma, essentially. The ACE and IB programs have been in place for a while in terms of having their own diploma. AP Capstone is relatively new, so it's still kind of building steam. But looking at these data, roughly 2,500 students out of last year's graduating cohort were eligible for Fulbright Future scholarships due to earning an ACE or IB diploma. So that's been generally moving in the right direction. And then I think one of the final questions around acceleration opportunities, and I'll start this slide and then transition it to Dr. Swiner, because this gets into more of a content area piece from the data. Currently DOE only has an accelerated math elementary kind of trajectory. Everything else is the same level of courses, and where your focus is in terms of enrichment, providing more rigor and more advancement within, for lack of a better word, regular English or regular language arts while you're in elementary school, regular science while you're in elementary school, but enrichment to build that rigor as opposed to separate course numbers. The mathematics is a bit of a different animal because you've got the trajectory towards algebra and geometry prior to getting out of middle school, so there is course progression to get there. But really the enrichment approach is intended to prepare students for more rigorous curriculum, but as you can see, generally speaking, there's been some slight increases in the AMP participation over the last year, and these are pretty big increases over previous years. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Swiner.
Good evening, everyone. So as Paul mentioned, currently the elementary mathematics is the only elementary offering where acceleration is possible due to the fact that those are the only courses that have been approved by the state as an actual course. We do see an increase in acceleration or the opportunity for science acceleration starting in middle school. And we see English language arts acceleration at our high school level with our AP, ACE, and IB offerings there. I wasn't sure if you all had any additional questions before we move on to kind of the work of the strategic initiative focused on this work, but I'm happy to answer any questions that there might be regarding acceleration opportunities at various levels. All right, so hearing no questions, we do have a strategic initiative focused specifically on acceleration opportunities. So it is initiative A2A. I am one of the co-sponsors for the initiative, and so this particular initiative is the implementation of innovative learning approaches, including acceleration in all four core subject areas, the inclusion of project-based learning opportunities, and authentic assessment. So this past year, as well as the year prior, we have focused a large amount of both time, energy, and dollars towards ensuring that our teachers have a developed capacity to teach these courses. The more comfort that a teacher has in the content itself and in the delivery of it, and in what the assessment is looking for, the higher success rate that we see when it comes to the actual assessment outcomes. And so over the last year, you can see various data regarding support and opportunities that we have created as a division for our teachers that teach these higher level courses. So we have our acceleration roundtables, which is a forum for all of our AP, ACE, and IB teachers to come together and share best practices, share resources, conduct planning sessions with one another, so that it's almost like a large district-wide professional learning community where they have the ability to plan and coordinate content and learn from one another from teachers that are currently teaching the same exact course. We also have coordinator meetings. So these are the school staff that are based at the site that help support teachers in both the administration of the actual assessments themselves, assisting with scheduling, and just knowing timelines and implementation details for those specific courses. The other thing that we have done is that we have increased training specifically on strategies to support Black and Hispanic populations within our AP courses. And the last kind of major focus that we took on for our gifted support was we pushed a large amount of ESSER dollars towards making sure that we could increase the number of gifted certified teachers on our campuses, which again would increase gifted opportunities for our students, as well as those teachers that do not have a gifted mixed classroom, provide opportunities for enrichment for all of our students, not just those labeled with giftedness. And so last year we sponsored a large number of teachers, about 43, to be able to not only complete their certification courses, but also gave them a membership to the National Gifted Teacher Association to again further their practice, give them access to resources to support the enrichment process, and better support our students.
I believe Rachel has her hand up.
I think she left the meeting.
Oh, she had said I thought it indicated she had a question. Okay. I do have a question. So are these elementary, middle school, and high school teachers, or are that have received this gifted training, or which age group are we talking about?
Elementary predominantly, but there have been some middle school.
Has there been any, so there's been no training for high school teachers for?
So there is not a specific course at the high school level specifically that separates out gifted cluster. They're more supporting the enrichment philosophy. And so high school isn't structured the same way as elementary is.
So I realize that unless it's changed, there could be gifted classes at the high school level, but that Palm Beach County has not done that. I think if they did it, it's been quite a long time. But that the idea would be, you had mentioned incorporating some of the teaching strategies, possibly with not just gifted students. It sounded like that was something that you had just said. If I misunderstood you, please correct me. But here, if we had high school teachers who have been trained to work with gifted students, that might also be helpful, because you do have gifted students who are leaving middle school, and it's been established that they do have those needs, otherwise they wouldn't be in the program. But when they get to high school, if they could have that support, I would think that could be even better.
So the training itself is available district-wide K-12 teachers. The certification is where you see that variability. The gifted certification or the gifted endorsement on a teacher's certification is not commonly seen at a high school level unless they came from another level. But the actual professional learning on how to infuse the strategies and how to support gifted students who are in your mixed level classes, that is prevalent, and it's actually incorporated into our resources that are available for teachers, what we call our Blender site, which is where all of our instructional materials are organized. We have available resources for both ends of student ability level. So you'll see a lot of resources that are specifically tiered for those students needing additional language supports, as well as those that are ready for that next level of achievement and ready to be challenged through enrichment opportunities and in abilities to get access to activities that are at a higher level than they're currently at. And so all of that is available predominantly within our instructional resources and actually part of our instructional materials adopted process, that is one of our non-negotiables that is part of our materials when we adopt them.
I see. And do you keep track of what percentage of the high school teachers actually use Blender for that particular instruction for the, you talked about that full range. So both for the, across the full range, no matter which level of students, do you track how that's being utilized, the training is being utilized by the teachers, not how it's being used, but
we can definitely track the training. We also have availability to be able to monitor which resources are clicked on in Blender. So if that's information that we wanted to gather and monitor to see implementation, we can. If it's requested that we look at the individual clicks within an adopted instructional materials, I'm sure we can probably gather that from the service provider, but we don't typically tend to monitor what is being implemented and used from the actual instructional materials because that's an outside platform.
Right. No, I was asking basically, do you see even the training being taken up on the possibly training for addressing gifted students' needs at the high school level?
I would say our enrollment numbers at the high school level are much lower, but we do offer them, yes.
And I understand it's offered. The question is, has there been work to try to encourage that participation in that training?
A lot of those
we have thousands of gifted students in high school then walk in middle school that then walk into high school possibly without their needs getting addressed.
But they are enriched, and a lot of our AP, ACE, all those classrooms utilize some of those strategies because a lot of those students are taking these higher order courses so that they can get their GPA bumped up as well. And,
right, but sometimes they might be in an honors class or some other such class, and depending upon whatever the needs of the student are, but they still are gifted and need that different instructional approach than what you'll see in a gifted class. I mean, in a non-gifted class, they still need the gifted oriented instruction. But if the teachers are not aware of that and don't understand how to do that, it makes it much more difficult for both the teacher and the student.
Yeah. But like I said, most of that is integrated within these classes, but we'll go back and take a look at that more closely.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? All right. Okay.
Rachel has a question.
How are you supporting kids that are in ACE and AP classes with specific learning disabilities. Do you have any classes right now that are support facilitated for those children that might need help, but can definitely handle the material with the accommodations, with the assistance?
I would say that in working with our school counselors and with our facilitators on campuses, all of our teachers are aware when students have accommodations, and so we always work towards ensuring that those students have the accommodations set in place no matter what the course is that they take.
One of the things that I know personally, my daughter is now graduating, but she benefited very, Polo Park Middle had her in advanced classes with a support facilitator in it, and it was amazing. And I don't know if that exists anywhere else, where there's not just accommodations, but someone that can also teach to the learning disability within the English class, while doing the, advanced class material. Is that something?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could benefit so many children, and
Yeah,
I'm wondering
absolutely.
when that happens.
Absolutely. We can go back and find out specifically how it's addressed, but I know that when the students have their IEPs, whatever services are written in the IEP, they carry through, and I know that there is support facilitation. There's also strategies classes, consultation, but we can get you the specifics.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Are there any other questions?
I know while putting together the presentation, I want to thank the team. They did an outstanding job of kind of looking at all that. And I know looking at all the charts and all the data and the course numbers and all that, I know I was very impressed by the work that we've accomplished so far. This is where we are right now. Of course, we definitely want to make sure that all the students have access to these courses. We also really didn't talk a lot about our other ways of enriching our students through our industry certification classes as well. That's something that we are also continuing to work with our students. But it was very impressive to see how many opportunities we do have out there for our students. But we will continue the work.
It was also very impressive to see the changes over in time and how they have increased. And I commend everybody's efforts to make that happen. It's really heartening to see how many students have had their lives enriched and have greater opportunities because of the work that you all have done. So I just think it's wonderful. And thank you for bearing with all my questions.
No worries, that's why we're here. But
I
no,
do have one more question.
Sure.
Kind of tying together the update that you'd given at the beginning regarding the proposed, the bill that has not been enacted yet about the cuts related to advanced coursework. Do those, and forgive me for not being as familiar with the bill as I'd like to be, I guess, at this point, but do those cuts include cuts to dual enrollment programs, or is it just focused on AP, ACE, and IB?
Actually,
programs?
it's all the above. It's dual enrollment. It's also industry certification as well. But you want to share something, Ms. Postal? Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. So, yes, I was between the rooms. I was between the two rooms here at the district because we had a superintendent advisory meeting just now, and just wanted to share SB 2510, which is the Senate bill that was referred earlier. So we were listening to this call as well over there. I had my laptop, but the superintendent just shared that there is a $32 million, including charter school impact regarding this bill, and that is going to impact nearly 82% of our high schoolers, 26 million high school across 25 high schools. That's 26 million without the charters across 25 high schools. So schools are sitting on a significant impact should this bill pass. And there is more to come with this conversation, but sitting here on behalf of Parent Teacher Association, I do ask that those who are on the call, please reach out to your senators and let them know the impact that we have here in Palm Beach County and why this bill is not a good bill.
Thank you. We all need to be definitely having these conversations and reaching out to whomever possible, because it is a significant, like $32 million is significant across our high schools.
Yeah.
So, especially when we've accomplished so much and we have more to go. So we want to continue this great work. Okay. Any other questions? This is our Q&A part, I guess, of the agenda. Go back to this.
Okay. I have one question. When do the graduations begin? When the
Yep.
graduation season?
I believe I said, hold on, I have my notes right here. They begin
I think it's
May
May
6th.
6th.
May 6th through May 22nd. So I actually am excited, very excited about that. I myself have a senior graduating this year from Wellington High School. Thank you. So yes,
Congratulations.
thank you. So May 6th to May 22nd, and this is definitely the best part of the year for us here. It's a culmination, well, for us, of all the work, our pre-K to 12th grade, and a new beginning for our students as they leave our schools and ready to face their future. So I know we really
That's
enjoy
wonderful.
those ceremonies.
Yeah.
Our schedule is
So,
out there. Mhm.
I believe our academic advisory committee, normally it does seem to fall within the time frame of the graduation season for May. So does anyone have a motion that we not hold the meeting in May? And we normally do not meet over the summers.
So let's check to see when that meeting is scheduled for. What do we have, Alma?
Because it's the second Monday of the month.
Because I believe part of one of our those discussions we had at one meeting was that we were going to try to meet in person that one, May 5th, right? We were going to try to meet in person for that meeting as our last meeting of the year.
So we moved the meeting to May 5th instead of May 12th? Because I think normally it's the second Monday of the month, so that would be May 12th. But did we move it to May 5th? I think I might have put that in my calendar that way, in which case we can meet.
Let me see. It was changed? Okay. Do we have it, Alma, for May 5th?
Okay.
Or do we have two? Yeah, you know what? I apologize for that. The calendars has probably been the most difficult part of this transition, because all the meetings that were set before for Dr. Sheffield, and they weren't on my calendar, so we've had to, redo the meetings and all of that. So let me see.
Not a problem.
I do have it
It's
for-
understandable, so.
Yes.
May 5th is the Dwyer Awards,
Yeah.
just FYI.
It
Oh.
is.
So I don't
Okay.
want to take people away from that either.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it says date change academic.
The May calendar is jam-packed, but
Mhm.
I'm just, on the call not as a member, so, but
Understood.
Mrs. Bishop.
Right. So I think often we have not met in May because of exactly the same issue.
Okay.
So let's plan to meet in person the first meeting of the year. And then next year we can plan ahead to meet in person, hopefully in April and not May.
So in August, let me see. Do we need to
This would be
select
meeting
that
on
date
the
now?
11th, but when is the first day of school for?
Yeah,
next
I'm
year?
The
looking at,
11th.
yeah, I'm looking at the
So,
calendar, so
I
it's
think-
not going to really be
I think
ideal.
often in August, we have delayed the meeting by a week. So we would meet on the 18th to give you all at least a little breathing room before you have to meet with us. So you can get through the first week.
that works for us, so I don't know.
Motion to have our first scheduled meeting for FY '26 on August 18th, regular time. If I can also ask, well, there's a motion on the floor.
And did you want to
You got a
add
second?
more to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Well, any discussion?
Yes, so with that motion, I would like to say, as we get into the August meeting and we have the agencies here online in a quorum, if we can go ahead and have our staff prepare a scheduled calendar for us for the year in August, as well as preparing to vote in our chair and vice chair in the month of August, so we're not delayed by September, October, or anything that might, delay us, whether it's weather or quorum.
No quorum, we can't, if we don't have a quorum, we can't have a vote.
Understood. I'm asking that we typically delay the vote for vice chair or chair because we say, oh, this is our first meeting. We want to wait for a month, and next month we'll vote, and then next month is the peak of hurricane season. So,
Well,
yes.
I appreciate that you remember it that way. I
That's
do
my
remember it
discussion,
differently.
Madam Chair.
And that
I'm
we-
sorry I was not done with my conversation, but that is my discussion. So I'm just asking that you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Certainly, but we've held votes often on the first meeting of the year. But, okay, then, Ms. McQuinn?
Just clarifying, so we are doing the in-person meeting second Monday in August?
That is,
Third
I
week,
lost track.
that
third week,
the
right?
motion is that we hold the second meeting in August. It has not been specified yet if that would be in person. It was something that we had discussed in the past.
18th, August
But
18th.
not part of this current.
Could I add,
Okay,
making
thank
it
you.
in person?
Friendly amendment accepted. The meeting is, the motion is August the 18th, and that's the third in
Monday.
person.
What do you mean by that's the third in person?
You said this, I just wanted to correct, you said second Monday. The 18th is the third Monday.
I see.
Yes, and Mr. Collins said it was in person, and I said, he asked if he can suggest a friendly amendment, and I said friendly amendment is accepted for the in-person on August
Okay,
18th.
so is there any further discussion for holding the meeting in August on August 18th in person? It will still be a hybrid meeting, but we will encourage people to show up in person. Okay, hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please either say aye or put that you are saying aye, write it in the chat, please.
Aye.
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 In the chat, 6. Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
There was a comment about the May meeting in the comment section. I don't know if you can see that.
Christine state in lieu of, I'll let.
Yeah, it was my comment. I just want to, since we're not meeting in May, and I know the legislative session, it's going on and it's going to end, during a time period where we're not going to have any meetings traditionally. If there's a way that you can provide us updates as, the bills move through the legislative session, and then if they look like they're going to pass, what steps the school district is taking, if there's going to be such a loss in funding. just, I know for me, I'm keeping track of like a bunch of different bills for my personal stuff at work. And, this is just another, thing to keep track of. If somebody could summarize it for me, it would be greatly appreciated, especially if we're not going to meet in May and we're not going to meet again until August.
Yes, our Mr. Burke usually puts together a very nice summary. We usually get one with all the updates and the progress of the bills. So as soon as all of that goes through, we will send that out to everyone. Now, what I know within the Academic Advisory Committee, with the bylaws and all that, are we able to send a specific email to the committee members?
Yes, I think the committee members cannot send information to each other that would possibly fall into concern of sunshine, but you can send information to us all.
As long as everybody at the same time, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, then we can certainly do that. We can certainly update you as far as steps and all that depending on where we are, that may take us some time to really process and measure the impact and determine those next steps. So I can definitely promise you updates, but I can't promise you exactly what we're doing in May. You know what I mean? It depends on how.
No, I understand. Yeah, just if there's a way to keep us updated, because we're not meeting again for another 4 months.
Sure.
Watch our school board meetings.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Aside from the regular channels, no, I understand.
Let me tell you something. Ms. Frederickson provides a very explicit explanation of the budget and the bills and the impact. No one does it better than she does. So definitely we can tune into that part of the school board meetings.
So I believe we would need a motion for canceling the May meeting.
Oh.
I move that we cancel the May meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
This is Randy. I'll second.
Thank you. All, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And thank you again for coming to the meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. This is Randy.
Second, Shereen.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you all for attending. It's wonderful to be actually able to have these meetings. So I really appreciate that you all were here. And I wish everyone a wonderful summer. And thank you again for your time and effort and for the wonderful presentation. It was really fascinating. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. See you all in August.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.